After a recent bout of pink eye, Najib Razak decided to switch up his usual coffee order today. Instead of a cappuccino or americano, he went for a strawberry-flavoured frappe. Meanwhile, Judge Collin Lawrence Sequerah, who is presiding over the 1MDB trial, is not letting the lawyers take their sweet time to wrap up SRC proceedings. Despite several arguments to delay the 1MDB case, the judge was steadfast and set August 26th to start the trial. SRC proceedings will now have to finish up within this strict timeline. By the Malaysian Insight, this is The People versus Najib Razak. Follow us into the courtroom where it all happens. I'm Patrick Teo. In case you were wondering why there have been no podcasts since day 51, Najib was struck with conjunctivitis last week. His lawyers brought a medical certificate for 3 days. Judge Muhammad Nazlan Muhammad Ghazali accepted and adjourned the trial until today. Najib seemed to have made a speedy recovery as he was continuing his online campaign for support over the weekend, attending several events. He even made an appearance at restaurant Pelita on Jalan Ampang in the heart of Kuala Lumpur. The SRC trial got off to another late start today. Lawyers from both the prosecution and defense teams spent the morning trying to convince Judge Collin Lawrence Sequerah to delay the One Malaysia Development Berhad or 1MDB trial so that SRC proceedings could wrap up first. Najib, dressed in a blue suit and matching tie, was seated in the public gallery as the lawyers addressed the judge. He was accompanied by around 30 journalists, half of which were foreign media. The 1MDB proceedings were supposed to start today. The case, often touted as the world's biggest financial scandal, has had a ripple effect globally, with countries like Singapore, America, and Switzerland looking into the matter independently. In Malaysia, Najib faces 21 money laundering charges and 4 more for abuse of power involving 2.28 billion ringgit in public funds. Last week, the federal court, the highest court in Malaysia, rejected the appeal for the 1MDB case to be put off. Today, Judge Collin held fast and insisted for the trial to begin next Monday, the 26th of August. He also advised the prosecution, led by former federal court judge Gopal Sriram, to prepare their opening statement and call in witnesses for Monday. After that was settled, Najib returned home to wait for SRC proceedings to begin after lunch. At 2:30 p.m., the lawyers were back again, this time in Judge Nazlan's courtroom. The SRC trial is in its last leg of the prosecution stage. After this, the judge will have to decide if there is a prima facie case, and Najib will have to enter his defense. The 57th and final witness is back, MACC investigating officer Rosli Hussain. Rosli's testimony today was more of the same from last week. He was asked by DPP Suhaimi Ibrahim to identify more documents, letters, and receipts. The witness was asked to verify documents related to bank transactions between 2014 and 2015. These were letters of instruction, as well as email records between SRC International CFO C. Yok Peng and AmBank Relationship Manager Crystal Yap. After identifying documents for more than an hour, Rosli asked for a break, which the judge allowed. Najib took this opportunity to use the men's room while his aide went down to the basement cafeteria to buy him a strawberry-flavoured frappuccino. The former PM took a seat at the benches outside the courtroom to enjoy his drink. After the break, DPP Suhaimi asked Rosli how many times Najib was called in by the MACC to have his statement taken. The answer was 3 times between 2015 and 2018. They were all in relation to SRC. Suhaimi asked Rosli whether he had shown Najib some of the documents which had his signatures. The witness said all the documents had been shown to Najib. He confirmed that the signatures were his and there was no denial on the former PM's part. At this, Shafi stood up and said that what Rosli had testified was hearsay, unless there were documents to prove otherwise. The defense on numerous occasions have suggested that Najib's signatures on several bank documents and letters of instruction could have been forged, and insisted that he had no knowledge of the forgeries. The prosecutor then asked Rosli to identify checks in relation to Ehsan Perdana, SRC's charitable arm. Soon after, DPP Suhaimi asked that court be adjourned for the day because Rosli was getting tired. He told the judge he will wrap up his examination by 10 a.m. tomorrow. The monotony in court was broken when the usually serious Judge Nazlan addressed Sitam directly and said, quote, "I thought you said you won't leave the court until the examination is over," unquote. The public gallery erupted in laughter. Sitam said he stood by his words and it was up to the judge. The judge allowed the case to be adjourned but reminded the prosecution sternly that he expects them to wrap by 10 a.m. Proceedings will resume tomorrow at 9 a.m. This podcast is produced, written and mixed by Revati Subramaniam, Yapik Kwan, Yvonne Lim and Ravin Palanisamy. Additional reporting by Beat Hong and Timothy Acharyam. I'm Patrick Teal.